Hey everybody, welcome to Talking Poop. As most of you already know, we were invited to Phoenix Fan Fusion this year. When I first got the opportunity to present a panel at Phoenix Fan Fusion this year, we decided that we would do The Princess Bride since Chris Sarandon, the guy that played Prince Humperdinck, was going to be there. And then the guy that was setting everything up, he was looking for more horror content. And so he asked me if I would be interested. I said, of course, I love horror movies. It's one of my favorite genres. And so we chose Chris Sarandon's second most famous movie, I'd say, where he played the vampire Jerry Dandridge in the 1980s classic Fright Night. So they scheduled it for 9 o'clock p.m., which I thought was kind of late for the podcast crowd. But I thought, what the heck? Let's do it. And then I found out that Comic-Con closed at 7 o'clock and they kicked everybody out of the building. So as we watched our audience quickly dwindle, we wondered who would be left to hang on. Would it be just us sitting there talking to ourselves? Luckily, some diehard fans stuck around, hung out, and we had a little smaller audience than we had for the first one, but it was still a great turnout. They were a great audience. They were very involved, asking questions. It was an awesome experience. This week, we're going to present that live recording from Phoenix Comic-Con 2019, where Talking Poop presents Fright Night.
Do you lose sleep at night? Grab your pillow tight. Do you struggle to find why Han and Luke had to die? Are you just a mess? Does Hollywood leave you stressed? Because their sequels are more important than fan requests. Hold on to your chair, cause Talking Poop takes you there. You might have to change into some new underwear. Talking Poop.
So hey everybody, this is Talking Poop. This is a podcast where we talk about movies, music, and media that make us who we are today. And tonight we're going to be talking about the classic 80s horror movie Fright Night. Yes. All right, so I have an amazing panel that I've put together for you guys. This is published author and historian Brian Gunn.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here.
Brian just had his first short story published in a book you can get on Amazon. Tell us the name of it.
Yeah, it's called Time to Myself. If you want to check it out on Amazon, type that in. Scott Harrison, 51 Friends. It's a bunch of short stories by Western authors.
Next to Brian is Alicia. She is our songstress. She does all of our music for our shows. She's a comedy songstress. So she's got a big hit right now with a music video on YouTube that you guys can take a look at. It's called Dill Don't Leave Me, and it's about her dildo.
That's great. It's not about my dildo. It's about
a dildo.
A friend that we've all had and lost, maybe. But thank you, yeah.
And then on the far end there, from Arizona Burlesque, Miss Vivian Vengeance.
Hi, everybody.
I told you guys
Thanks
we'd
for
have
coming
strippers.
Vivian, is Arizona Burlesque starting up anything in the next few months?
Yes, they have brunch-lesque events coming up soon. Usually those are at Pub Rock, and then the studio actually has classes, including assholes, tassel twirling, and their toolbox classes, which are a multitude of awesomeness.
Everybody here should go.
We were talking about the assholes. Can you explain the assholes to our audience?
Well, it's exactly what it sounds like, Jason. We went
My
over
mind
this.
goes to several different
Put
places.
it on the
Please.
butt cheeks, and then it's even better than twerking.
Do you have to know how to twerk to be able to like spin them?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. It's for me then.
Absolutely not.
Is there a
I am
weight
getting
limit
better
on
at it, though.
assholes?
God, I hope not. I'd be in trouble.
Do you smell them after
Do
you...
I smell them?
Not you. I don't know.
I was gonna say.
Do things get weird in burlesque dancing?
I mean, it is when
I've
you
never.
make it. Come check it out. Come check out a show. It's a great time. Tons
never
of
seen
babes,
burlesque.
tons of booty, and tons of beer. What more could you ask for?
I like booty and beer.
It is an experience. I went for the first time and I brought my wife because I didn't know that burlesque
Smart.
meant totally
Did she
naked
get mad
boobies.
at you because you don't know how to dance like that?
All right, you guys, let's talk about some Fright Night. Show of hands, who here has seen Fright Night? So a few virgins, but most everybody's seen it. Excellent. Fright Night came out in the 80s when vampires weren't cool anymore, and it was starting to turn, the whole vampire thing was starting to turn like comedy, and it was starting to become funny and not scary anymore. So Fright Night was like one of the first ones that was trying to bring back like the scary vampire. Whether they did it or not, that's that's up for some debate. The whole premise of it is that there's this young kid who all he wants to do is get laid by his girlfriend, and that's like his main character motivation. And he finds out.
So he's a teenage boy.
He's a teenage boy, exactly.
That's everyone's motivation in high school. Come on now.
For the uninitiated, it's the star of Mannequin 2 is the young boy. And then he is trying to get with his super hot girlfriend, Amanda Burse from Married with Children, the annoying neighbor, in one of her finest performances. And then Chris Sarandon moves in next door to him. That's Prince Humperdinck from The Princess Bride, who's actually here at the Comic-Con right now. And he plays, what's his name? Jerry Dandridge,
Yeah.
yes. He plays Jerry Dandridge.
With the most unmemorable name of a character in my opinion.
Which is what vampires should be doing.
Yeah, just I'm Jerry
Yeah.
the Vampire, not like Vlad the Impaler. Everybody's going to remember that shit.
Such a vanilla name for such a not vanilla character.
Unless it's the kid from Monster Squad who you could call yourself Mr. Akula, and then he'll turn it all the numbers around and be like,
Wait a second.
Dracula! Oh my God!
Wait, didn't Harry Potter do that? Anyway, moving on.
So the very opening scene in this movie is a long pan through the neighborhood, which is just the Universal backlot, and you're seeing houses that you've probably seen, like Lethal Weapon and the
War of the
Bewitched
Worlds.
house.
Yeah.
That's for
Also, the church from Monster Squad is right there on that lot and prominently featured in this movie. So if you're like a movie nerd, then you'll notice like they're in a very obvious backlot neighborhood. But we panned in, and the kid is sitting there and he's watching his favorite show, which is Fright Night. And the hero of the show is Peter Vincent. And he's like this Vincent Price type. It was actually written for Vincent Price, this old like Vincent Price type vampire killer. And it's this kid's favorite show. So he's trying to score with his girlfriend, and he's watching this show, and we get to see a little clip of it. And it's really funny because the first shot of Peter Vincent, he's going to kill a vampire with a stake and a hammer, and he's got the stake backwards. With the sharp part facing himself.
Yes. I thought I was seeing something when I saw that.
Yeah, no, like I seriously was like, did they fuck that up, or was that supposed to be funny? But that's the kind of movie that it is through the whole thing. One of my favorite things too is that like you pan in through the kid's window and the bed is like totally made, and then it pans over the bed to the side, and he's trying to hook up with his girlfriend on the side of the bed, which all of us guys know is that's where you'd hook up with your girlfriend so you could get your dick back in your pants before your mom walked in. It gave you that extra 5 seconds to like zip it up and be like, we were just kissing.
I was just watching the movie.
Yeah.
Just rubbing my
It's
back.
more comfortable down your mom.
I did notice, I kept bringing this up, that it looks like making out in the 80s was like the most aggressive thing.
They were
ever.
really going
Like,
to town
there's-
on each other
Yeah,
in
and
this
it looked,
film.
it
Yeah.
looked
Like, I
painful.
would-
It looked like they were like hitting their teeth together. It was like,
Well,
Yeah.
but then I totally lost my boner after she was like, Charlie, why can't we make love?
Oh, so obnoxious and loud.
Charlie.
There's one thing that happened in this movie that I don't think would ever happen in real life is a teenage boy is finally convinced his girlfriend to have sex with him, and she gets on the bed and she takes everything off, she's ready to go, and he gets distracted by
Yeah.
something going on outside the window, and I thought,
About his
there's just
neighbor.
no
His
way.
male
There's just no
neighbor.
way he would
Like-
ever notice.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
we're about to fuck. What's
I'm
that?
sorry.
They're carrying something sexy too. And
Teenage boy, like about to have sex for the first time, like his mom could have come into that room with a decapitated head, and he would have been like,
Another
talk
great-
about
Give me
that
a minute.
later.
Well, another great part about that scene is she takes her shirt off behind him, and then like it cuts
Oh,
to
yeah.
him, and you see her back there, and she's got her shirt back on.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to her again. She's got her shirt totally off, and then back to her, and she's got it like holding it over her. So.
there was another thing in that beginning scene too, was when he goes to look at the neighbor, just out of nowhere, just like army grade binoculars.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, who had them? Did he bring them over? Or did she have them? Either way, one of them's a fucking creep for having
Just
those.
keeps them out his window
We
all the
learn a
time.
little bit later. We actually get a shot of why he's such a creep, but yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
And why were they so conveniently located? He just like whips those.
Oh, they're right by the
like-
window. They're for one reason only. He flips on his night vision. He's like, oh yeah.
They're not even that noticeable on your face.
So so Amanda Burse is playing the girlfriend. Was she 80s hot? Do you guys think
No.
she was 80s hot? No. She was gross, right?
different standards. I think now in movies, everyone's got to be a model and everyone has to be like a 10. And we noticed in like 80s movies, you're just like, they were just sort of just whoever.
They cast her as the girl next door, but I was like, I'd go to the next house.
All right. You know what? In her defense, though, that backless dress that she's wearing, where you can see them nips, them really perky, nice little boobies. Like, come on.
Wait, was that later on?
Come on. Yeah, that was later on.
We gotta.
That was later on during the pedophile part of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I mean, no. No.
They definitely set her up as the sex symbol in this movie, and she's supposed to be 15 or 16. It turns out Amanda Burst was 27 when she filmed the movie, but
That's fine.
there was a lot of
24.
uncomfortable like teenage stuff going on. And what was with every scene? She had weird shit in her hair. She always had a bow or
That's
like
the 80s,
a bunch
man.
of 80s barrettes. Like,
I think they were trying to make her look younger.
yeah, well,
Valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
It's like when you watch, not that I have experience, but like when you go on Pornhub and you go like, you see all these like sexy, like barely legal, and they just have pigtails like up here. You're like, that doesn't, you got wrinkles. It's kind of hot though. All
And the
right.
knee-high socks. I mean,
I don't wear those at all.
I'm hard right now.
Oh.
Yep. Fact check. So I love this. So she gets mad because he doesn't notice her wanting to have sex with him finally. So she runs down the stairs and they're arguing and she's like, why don't you, I finally gonna put out and you just don't even want this, all this. And like they cut to the mom who was sitting 4 feet away from this argument.
It reminded
Like,
me
what
of.
is wrong with his mother? And then as the movie goes on, we realize like the mom is on Valium through the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
She's like
It reminded
totally
me
aloof that
of-
her kid is out hunting vampires all night long.
I mean,
Charlie.
Jerry Dandridge threatens her kid right in front of her in the kitchen, like looks right at him and is like, don't let me catch you creeping around my house again, or there will be dire consequences. And the
Yeah.
mom's just like, oh,
Would you like another Bloody Mary?
what a great neighbor we
The
got
mom
here.
reminds me of the mom in Mean Girls when she's like, do you need anything? A condom? I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
and can we also point out how during that scene, after, they're on the side of the bed, that she's like, thanks for helping Charlie with his homework.
Yeah.
Like, come
Right
on.
after they had the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, come on now.
Has any mom ever thought we were doing homework? Like, seriously? Mom, I'm getting D's in every class, and my jeans are always wet when I come downstairs for dinner. But, whatever.
It's weird, mine too.
So then we cut to the next day at school, and we meet the world's worst best friend,
Yeah.
With
Evil
the worst
Ed.
voice.
I literally put in my notes, I'd fuck Evil Ed.
Evil Ed is, 80s best friends were always like the wacky, crazy guy, but
Yeah.
Evil Ed takes the fucking cake.
He becomes the craziest character. He's not even a good friend. We're not sure why he's
No, he's
friends.
awful to the kid. What is the kid's name? What is the kid's name? Charlie.
We've already
He's
said it.
Charlie
Charlie.
Rooster.
He makes he makes fun of him the entire time. He's never supportive, and then he legitimately goes behind his back and screws him over.
Right.
But it's Charlie's only friend.
And I guess he was evil because he liked horror movies, I guess, but they don't really even explain that.
Yeah.
Or show
Also,
it.
the actor gave me goosebumps. Like every time he was on screen, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah,
Wait
He's
till
got
later.
bodies under his house now.
yeah, for sure.
I was having the internal debate during every scene with Evil Ed. Is he a worse human or is he a worse vampire? The whole time, I just couldn't decide. And actually, he had food poisoning during that scene where he's transforming and everything. So all of his writhing and agony was apparently all
Just trying-
too real.
He
Just
was
trying to hold in
He
diarrhea.
was just shitting his
Holding
pants.
massive
Just
shits.
shitting in those pants.
He's so sweaty in every scene.
And I was so
And his
uncomfortable.
laugh. Who can do his laugh? I can't.
I can't. Jason, you're good at impressions. You said so yesterday. Do his laugh.
My Andre the Giant almost had people walk out of the podcast. So we see the neighbor. He sees the neighbor bringing a coffin into the basement of the house, and he's like, something weird is going on here. Then he goes over and he's spying on him, and he sees his neighbor painting the windows black. So if your neighbor is painting the windows black, they're either growing weed or they're vampires.
Or both.
Or both.
But how many growing vampires are
It only takes one,
They're
because I
not
would
going
be
to
a
admit to you
really
that
chill
that's what
vampire.
they are. They're going to keep it a secret.
Apparently, Chris Sarandon thought it would be cool that he thought that most bats are fruit bats, and so he wanted to be eating fruit in every fucking scene of this movie. And
Like,
also,
really
if you notice,
sexually, too.
when Charlie's
He makes love to the fruit.
he does make love to the fruit every time.
And
It's
his roommate.
yeah, he's definitely fucking the roommate.
His
for sure.
familiar.
But
Yeah.
when he eats that apple and Jerry's hiding in the bushes, he eats everything but the
Yeah.
skin and then throws it at Jerry, which is super weird and creepy. I
So
was
it's like this half moon of an apple, and you're like, well, so he ate the core?
it reminded
That's
me of
weird.
those old Reese's peanut butter cup commercials when they're like, how the fuck do you get the peanut butter out of the middle?
Well, and his creature design was also modeled after a fruit bat, which is like the least terrifying creature.
Well, I think I read that they used that, or they wanted to use it for a different movie, and they didn't have the opportunity. So when this movie came around, they're like, well, hey, we already built it. Let's just bring it to this one. And they're like, well, it just looks gross and like a fruit. That's fine. I'll do it. This
And I did
cool.
get a little confused during our research, because this movie was written by somebody named Tom Holland. So I was like, oh shit, Spider-Man
Fucking
wrote
Spider-Man
this.
wrote
I was
this?
like, it's crazy.
I was like, I love that guy.
And then he said he directed it too. He wrote it and he directed it, and it was his first time directing a movie. But the movie he'd done before that, he let someone else direct it, and he said it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to at all. Wasn't true to his vision. It was like a totally different movie. So Fright Night, when he got done writing, it was like, well, I'm gonna direct this one. And Chris Sarandon was like, well, I don't know if I want to work with a first-time director. I don't know if I should be doing a horror movie. And turns out he really liked it, and he knocked it out of the park, and he kept directing after that.
Love it or hate it, like Chris Sarandon's performance in this movie was like
Sexy.
what draws you in, I think.
He definitely puts his all into it. It's a goofy, campy movie, but he takes it very seriously.
Yeah, and it toes that line between, like, it's almost Evil Dead-y in that way, where it
Yeah.
toes
Yeah.
that line between horror and comedy. But it knows what it is, and that's what's awesome
I'd
about
feel
it.
really weird though, as like an actress, like working with him on set and seeing, because I read also that he did his own like prosthetics and makeup for his hands for a lot of the scenes.
You
and
do
I'm
see a
like,
lot of close-ups of the hands changing throughout the movie. It was a
and I'd
little
feel
weird.
really weird if, some of them sexy scenes that he's doing with little, the ladies. I'd be like, oh no, it's up here, oh no. And it would kill my boner, and I'd probably lose it. So
Yeah.
kudos to the other people too.
And he was even hesitant to take that role, I believe, partly because of the new director, and then he had never been a vampire before. This was his first horror film, so
First time bam.
yeah, and he knocked it out of the park with his glossy, beautiful hair.
Jeez, yeah.
He does have fantastic hair.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this too, but he was also the voice of Jack the Skeleton from Nightmare Before Christmas, which I honestly thought that was Danny Elfman's voice, and it turns out that it's Chris Sarandon. So that was kind of cool.
If you see him now, he's rocking a beautiful beard. Like,
Oh yeah.
rocks that too. But-
So let's talk about when Charlie is staking out the neighbor because he's seen several things that make him think he's a vampire, but he's not sure yet. So he's going to put his chair next to the window, and we're panning away from the window. The house is dark. Charlie has...
So just a tip, by the way, from sniper school: sit away from the window. Don't sit right next to the window where the person you're watching can see you. You should sit as far away from the window where you can still see your objective as possible.
Yeah, he's sitting right in the middle of the window, and we're panning back, and there are porno magazines,
Yes.
and Cheeto wrappers, and candy bar
Tissues.
wrappers. So he's been jerking off and eating candy and staking out
Like
his vampire
Vaseline.
neighbor.
Which
and
is
then he falls asleep
actually-
doing that,
it's a
which one does.
Pretty typical stakeout, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I can relate.
how many times have we woke up with chocolate on our face and our dick in our hand? I mean, come on.
Sounds like a
7,
productive
8.
night.
And then he does see them bringing that body out of the house, and he's like, oh man, I got him now. But I noticed that they were walking out with a full-size, like, human body to a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just
They were
thought,
going to use a Jeep, the back of a Jeep. to
there's no
transport a
way.
body.
You can't even get a guitar back there. There's no way you're getting a whole body back there.
If you've ever tried to have sex with a girl in the back of a Jeep, or a guy,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Well, that's assuming she's in one piece. They might have cut her up.
They were
hot.
just
It's true, but
toting the body.
he's got it over the shoulder like a sack of old potatoes. It looks like it's in one piece, unless it's a couple of weird pieces.
I've never tried in a Jeep Wrangler. One time, though, we tried in the back seat of a Honda Civic, and that didn't go well either.
No, there's nothing worse than when the back door pops open and like your legs hanging out.
Yeah.
You didn't set the parking brake. You go rolling down.
I'll tell you what's worse.
That's the whole thing.
I
Walking
can't
out
believe
to
how
the
mad your
driveway and
parents
seeing
were
you two
either.
doing it. So. Can we get to the window, like the window, the sexy scene?
Where he watches his neighbor have sex for way too long.
I was just like,
Just checking to see if he's a vampire.
I just love that there's like the best and most classic 80s like synth and guitar solo music happening.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
it went straight to porno music
Yeah.
as soon as it like didn't try to shift away.
I
It just embraced
instantly
it.
want to get the soundtrack so like I can have sex to that and be like, Fright Night. I also don't know what I'm doing when I do dirty stuff, so. But it was fun.
Well, and they don't lose the momentum every time they have a scene where Sarandon comes. He's just got like that heavy boom, boom, boom. It was just so iconic and great.
It's the hair flip.
Amazing.
I'm gross.
Yeah, they let you know someone's
the
getting
Grody
bit
Bill.
or someone's getting fucked.
I never understand why don't vampires wait until after they fuck them to bite them. They always like get the foreplay over with and then bite them. It's like, didn't you want to bust a nut and then eat dinner? Like you were that hungry?
All right, you brought it up. Let's talk about it, man. What does a vampire bust when he busts a nut?
I don't know.
Is it bloody?
Well, then
or is it
they're
semen?
losing. Then they're just losing out.
I don't want to bring.
Also, are their teeth? Are they like a straw? Because they bite them.
Yeah.
It's like,
Are they hollow in the
Are
center?
they just sucking it through the teeth? I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have about vampire anatomy.
Well, if you consider the fact that Jerry doesn't really want to fuck these people, he's just luring them in.
Then why do the
To fuck
foreplay?
them.
Again, it's to drop their guard.
Why get to third base? You're a vampire. You're in my house. I got you.
Maybe vampires don't get boners anymore.
No, it's to drop their guard.
Could be a waste of blood.
I think what they could do is get one of those like animal trap cages and just put like cheese in there. And maybe this is like how they would get me, but like you just, and they're like, look what I got.
Cheese or chocolate?
Well, if you think of Jerry Dandridge as a serial killer, what does a serial killer do?
Wait, is he not though?
Kills people.
No, what's
Serially.
what's the method? You lure your victim in, you get them to drop their guard, and then
I thought you worked at a movie theater. Are you a serial killer?
no, I've researched
Well-
serial killers, and I've seen documentaries.
Do you have those binoculars? I'm gonna camp outside of this guy's house.
Jason, though, to answer your question about like what happens, like does a vampire like splooge or not? I think that was a huge debate with the Twilight. I hate to bring it up, but like the Twilight series, and also
None
did
of that should
Twilight-
count towards vampire lore.
Did Twilight get their idea from Fright Night? Because when I was watching it, it was like there's a lot of, I don't know. I feel like
I would
Twilight's
not
a
have been
ripoff
shocked
of
if Jerry
Fright
started to sparkle at any point in the movie.
Night. But a lot of people are like, you can't like impregnate a human because you're a vampire and there's like nothing in you. But they did it. I don't know. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's bats that come out of the tip of his penis.
So Jerry finds out that Charlie is
looks-
onto him.
Looks right at him while he's having sex with this lady.
Yeah, he looks
Well,
over and he
boobs
sees
are
him, and
out.
then he just slowly like closes the blinds. He's like slowly closes the blinds. Then he shows up at Charlie's house. That's when we talked about like he talks to Charlie's mom, and she doesn't care that this vampire man is obvious. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of a vampire.
I think she's lonely.
Pretty pissed
she's
off at your
single,
son.
And she's
she's
drugged
got this
up.
hot new neighbor that just moved in with his boyfriend, and she's like, maybe I can turn him.
Yeah, a lot of rouge, a lot of hair products.
Yeah, and then
in this
she
vampire.
offers her son a Valium, just like, do you need a Valium?
Yeah, she does.
Well, and
It's like
I
a whole
love
bottle.
that scene so much because he's just fucking with Charlie. He's just like, I would never come over uninvited.
Like the whole time he's got.
Now
like,
I'm gonna be
boner.
over a lot, and the mom's just like, this is great.
Well, how bored is this vampire that all he has to do is like fuck with this kid?
Yeah, you think you have bigger problems. but-
Yeah, he puts 100% of his attention on Charlie, and then he's like, you know what, Charlie? You can't fuck your girlfriend, but I bet I can. So he sets about like his main goal of the movie then becomes, I'm gonna fuck your girlfriend in front of you.
And how old is he? Because this isn't.
He's hundreds of years old.
Yeah, he's
but
not just like a
regardless-
30-year-old dude. He's like an
130.
immortal being.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Amy is like his reincarnated girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
So he has a painting in his basement where we keep all of our girlfriend's paintings, and so his girlfriend is his 15-year-old long lost lover, but he's making fucking eyes.
It didn't make
to
it
this
any
girl.
less creepy.
Yeah, to this 15-year-old girl in the story. Jerry definitely wants to have sex with her, and that becomes like that's gonna happen. Later on in the nightclub scene.
Why are
I was
vampires so
gonna
good at
say the
seduction?
nightclub scene.
I don't know. There's supposed to be like a supernatural element to the fact that they can like lure people in or whatever.
It's not just that they've had like a lot of practice with talking to ladies.
I lure people in quite a bit. Not in the same way. I'm shocked though, but I usually just like drop trowel. And they're like,
I'm always shocked if a lady can't get laid.
well, great. We're going to be great friends.
So now that Charlie's got this vampire on his ass, he's got to do something about it. And so he turns to the obvious choice, which is the TV personality that he saw on TV. That's like his hero.
Not before he goes to his only friend in the world, and his only friend in the world tells him to get fucking lost.
So
yeah,
it
that's-
also
Yeah, he's like, oh, go for it. Here's some fake holy water and shit. Get out of my house. Garlic. Go
But
away.
it also goes back to the why is he even fucking with this kid anyway? Because nobody's gonna believe him that he's a vampire. So he can just be like, no, he's
Charlie
just,
goes to the police, and the police are laughing with Jerry's familiar.
They could just
Well,
say, no, this kid's on Valium.
Turns out
He's
this movie
just-
was based on The Boy Who Cried Wolf. He thought like, well, what would it be like if a vampire moved in next door to someone who watched a lot of horror movies? So it was supposed to be a little bit based on that.
Right.
Although Charlie stops trying to convince his mom, like halfway through the movie, he just stops trying to convince her.
Yeah.
She's passed out.
After he leaves the kitchen, he's just like, never mind, I'm fine.
Yeah, so he goes to Peter Vincent in order to try to lure him into, or help him kill this vampire because he thinks Peter's got like this, inside knowledge on how to get rid of a vampire. But Peter Vincent's kind of a pussy, and
He's just a washed-up actor.
He's a washed-up actor.
Did you
exactly.
say
yeah,
pussy?
so.
Pussy.
Yeah, so he's a washed-up actor. He can't really help. He doesn't believe Charlie at first, of course. So they come up with this idea to go over to Jerry's house.
Which I gotta say, like, he doesn't believe him at first, which should be everyone's reaction when you're like, oh, there's a vampire next door. You should always be like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Whereas when we watched Monster Squad and a little 5-year-old wrote a postcard to the army and was like, there's monsters in my town, the army just showed up with tanks.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so Peter Vincent's initial reaction, spot on.
Well, and the thing is that this probably takes place in the same world as Monster Squad because it has the same church. So, like, after the army was like, fucking you, kid, you got us with that Crayola. No, we're not going to fall for it again. So Jerry was fucked. Or not Jerry,
Charlie.
Charlie was fucked. Charlie, Jerry, everybody.
Charlie, Jerry, man, I don't know, the same. I did notice one thing about this movie that's everywhere, in like every scene, fog machines.
Oh,
We need
there's
to
a
bring
whole lot
that
of fog.
back. And I think that's maybe why Game of Thrones had so much backlash is because their lack of fog machines. They were sans fog machines.
That's what it was.
That's
what
the
it
only
was.
thing. I mean, this would not have been noticeable with a fog machine. So.
No wonder the finale sucked. Just kidding.
Controversial.
So they come up with a plan. Peter Vincent's going to go over to Jerry's house, and they're going to get him to drink holy water to prove that he's not a vampire. So if some kids and an old washed-up actor show up to your house and say, drink this, his defense, he's like, well, I held it up to the fire first. Must be fine.
Smells like iocane powder.
I did like the whole idea that like crosses only work if you 100% believe. You have to have faith in order for the cross to work. You can't just like
So if
hold
you
a
just,
cross
like,
up.
Hold it up. I believe.
So
I
the guys in
believe.
From Dusk Till Dawn would have been fucked.
Are they taping like popsicle sticks together or some shit?
He's like, all you gotta do is just this. Kills vampires. All right, you guys. So Jerry winds up. I want to talk about this dance club scene because this is the scene that fucking blew my mind.
Well, when did he?
Yes,
He's got to get Evil Ed, right?
Oh yeah, so he gets Evil Ed in an alley. Evil Ed doesn't believe. He's like, I'm gonna walk down this dark alley and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I love that
My
there's,
friend
like,
literally
nobody
just
on
told
the
me there's a
streets.
vampire here.
There's like
Yeah.
nobody on the streets. There's not one homeless guy sleeping in a trash can, aka me. There's not like dogs or anything. It's just empty.
And fog machines.
And fog machines.
That was the foggiest fucking alley I've ever seen.
And then even Evil Ed
loved
as a
it.
vampire has to be like all he'll like his teeth aren't straight, like they're just sticking out from every fucking angle, like out of his gums and shit.
Yeah, no, he was the ugliest vampire I've ever
Because
seen.
he was
Yeah.
like tweaking out the whole time, like his whole life. So
That's what happens when you become a
Mix
vampire,
a
but you have
vampire,
methamphetamine.
you still do meth.
Yeah, don't ever mix methamphetamines and vampire blood.
meth, not even once.
So he turns Evil Ed. So Evil Ed tries to go over and kill Peter, and Peter does believe enough that he touches him with the cross and burns the shit out of Evil Ed's face, and then Evil Ed jumps out of the fucking window like
With his laugh.
yeah.
I like that he just goes, "Why would you do this to me?"
As he was trying to
'Cause
bite him.
You're trying to like fuck us over. That's why.
You're just trying to eat me.
Why wouldn't I do this to you, ass face?
Because your teeth are
You're a
fucked
shitty
up.
friend.
You shitty friend.
Well, and when Sarandon takes him to turn him, and he just like, he's wearing the white leather trench coat, which is already, I'm just like, whoa, this movie had no chill, but has no chill with the apparel choices either. And then he just like opens the trench coat. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you see
Yeah.
That was super
Evil
weird.
Ed
Yeah, he
just,
like tucks him in. He's like, "Come
like-
in
he, like,
here,
takes
baby.
it,
It's
yeah.
gonna get weird."
he like takes his head, just drops it down to his crotch, and you're a vampire.
I was just like, what's happening? Why am I turned on?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to be in that trench coat with him. Just want to see what's under there. I bet he's got huge baloney nipples.
I bet he's still around at the con. We could go ask him.
Chris, there's a rumor going around the con this year. Do you have baloney nipples?
He's like, no. He's like, God, this.
No,
back
but Jerry
again.
the vampire does.
I
Come into my
squashed that
coat.
in 2010.
All right, you guys. I want to talk about the fucking dance floor
Go for the
scene.
dance floor scene.
I've been chomping at the bit this whole time. This dance floor scene's so fucking weird.
Does this try number 4 now?
All right,
So they
well, shut up.
they go into the dance club, which is in every 80s
Where?
movie, and Jerry uses his powers to lure Amanda Burse away from Charlie, who's Charlie is just on the phone, so not paying attention to his girlfriend.
Once again.
Again.
I thought this whole movie was really about like how to have a good relationship. It was like, don't do what Charlie's doing and ignore your SO.
But what was amazing is that Jerry's technique was this like shark-like, she's looking at him through a hallway and he's zigzagging this way. He disappears off camera, comes back this way.
Not walking in a straight line at
disappears off
all.
camera. He's a little closer, and then he's like, boom, he's here. And
Classic Chris Sarandon.
and then they go out and they have this dance where he is thrusting on a 15-year-old girl. Ew.
Full on 80s dance scene, open shirt, backup dancers.
Now
Her
we have
hair all of a
shot
sudden
letters.
changes too.
Her hair changed.
Yeah.
She
To
had got
this
more makeup
huge
on.
Poofy
Poofy.
thing. She's got no shit in it holding it down, and it's this poofy 80s thing.
She became an
She
expert
pops
dancer.
her top button. He takes her 15-year-old hands and places them on his tight buttocks.
His butt.
See, nowadays there's like chaperones at dances for that kind of crap.
You guys, Deadpool's here.
Nice.
Well, we can say all the shit that we want about the dance move and the apparel choices, but were your eyes not looking away at any moment during that scene?
I looked
When-
away the whole time.
When he forced her hands down to his butt, I was
Yeah,
like,
me and Luke both
the
visibly
FBI is
cringed.
gonna pop in and arrest me any minute
I
for
was just
watching
like,
this.
Jason
Let
put
me
his
get
hands
them
over my
bucks.
eyes because he's like, "You're too young."
Well, and she's like all up with her collar and everything with her hands. It
Yeah,
was
she
very-
is
do that.
into it. And then he rubs his hand from her knee all the way up, and he pulls a Trump, you guys. He grabs her pussy.
Pussy.
Pussy. It is foul.
Now we know where his
And
inspiration
then from
came.
that point on, yeah, it's back to his place.
It's over. Charlie had no chance after
Charlie
that.
had no chance. Yeah, they escape the club. He escapes with her, and it's back to the house for another very uncomfortable fireside chat, where he's like, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay."
Yeah.
And he just takes his shirt off, and they start doing some yucky kissing.
Very aggressive,
Very
clacking
Aggressive,
teeth.
yeah.
aggressive. He's way too old, even if she's 27.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just gets real uncomfortable.
I was surprised some of that made it through, like the editor, the
Yeah.
ratings people weren't like,
Like uncomfortable, like your uncle's had a few beers and your mom says, I'm just going to run to the store real quick. I'm going to leave you with them. And you're like, I don't feel good about this.
didn't he just
And then
get out of jail?
She's not in her little teeny bopper outfit anymore with her stupid barrettes or bow or
Yeah,
whatever.
took her
and she's wearing
pigtails out.
No, now she has
Yeah.
full, long, blonde hair, which I didn't understand. Alicia said that's what happens when vampires happen. They get sexier.
Yeah, same thing again in Twilight. Like you get like instantly pretty, and I don't know, like super. Like you go from a 5 to like an 11, and I'm still waiting for my turn.
Yeah, when are you going to get bit?
I have to hit puberty first. They already told me so.
So this is when the movie degrades into what I realized was it's like a huge, like, wet dream of monster fucking. And then I started thinking about it. Monster fucking's been going on way longer than we've given it credit for. Brian, do you have some examples since you're a historian? How long has monster fucking been going on?
And how long have people been drawing like nude images on walls?
Yeah, like there's caveman drawings of like,
Getting fucked by huge animal
Like
dicks.
saber-toothed tigers. Like, thought
Mostly
you were
we think it
supposed
was
to-
cavemen exaggerating, just like, modern men. But
they're like, oh, question, yeah.
So were the people doing the animals, or were the animals doing the people?
Okay, this is a great time. I've put together a video. Sterling, roll the video.
Thanks for the warning.
This is going to show the history of monster fucking in cinema.
Sorry to take you guys out of the podcast, but at this point I played a video for the audience, which isn't really going to translate here on the audio version. But if you want to check out that video, go on over to our YouTube page and you can see it there, or it'll be on our website at www.talkingpooppodcast.com. All right, and now back to the show.
All right, everybody, let's
give
hear
it-
it for Monster Love.
oh my God, there's still people here.
Yeah, I thought you guys would be gone.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the genius of Jason's editing? He had to go and find all the perfect timing for each clip.
Actually,
for that.
Trust
what it
me,
made
looking up monster fucking on Google, you get some sick shit. I was able to find some of the funny, mild stuff.
Can you imagine what it'd be like if you disappointed one of those monster ladies? Like, usually when it's just your wife, like, she just rolls over and she doesn't talk to you for the rest of the night. But if you disappoint one of those ladies,
Yeah, you're going to lose an appendage.
Yeah, she'll kill you.
Probably the appendage.
like John Wick couldn't even fight it off.
Right. Yeah.
2 questions.
Yes, sir.
1, in terms of the sick shit, is like the sick shit the really good shit, or like the disappointing shit?
I'll tell you,
Depends on what you're into.
It's on YouTube, which I thought had parental controls. But there's some stuff on YouTube that is filthy.
Just check it out.
Just
Do it.
Google monster fucking. Just go home and do it right now.
Yeah.
Also, that video will be available on our website if you guys want to rub one out later.
Second, you're saying the appendage, do you mean this, or this, or this, or this, or this?
No,
Talking about pee-pee.
The dick is the appendage.
Wee-wees,
You
wieners,
know.
penises, hot dog.
Don't tell me you wouldn't be willing to lose both of your arms
Yeah.
if you meant to. You have to keep your dick.
I
Someone's
would.
giving you the choice. That's the last thing you lose.
That's the thing. I mean, at first you're like icky, and then some of that stuff wasn't that icky. Like, come on, who didn't watch Splash as a kid and be like, I'd hit it? All right, guys, we all want to talk about it. Where's a mermaid pussy? Where is it?
Yeah.
A mermaid pussy? It's in
lays
the
eggs.
sea.
She lays eggs, and then you just have to like onto the eggs.
Hey, I wanted to talk about when Amy, going back to Fright Night, because I'm getting
right.
way
Oh, yeah,
too,
we were talking about a movie. That's right.
way too. I got a really big boner, and I'm glad nobody can see it. Is there a curtain over here? Thank God. When she kind of turns, don't act like you're not impressed. When she's like a vampire thing, I don't know, half vampire, whatever she is, and she goes to like attack Charlie, like she's like ready for it, and I was just like, I think we can all relate to that. Like when it's been a while and you're just like, how do you can't be subtle anymore. And you're just like, and you just go for it.
And you got your makeup all did and your nails
Change
all
your
did.
hair.
So a little bit of trivia on that. The contact lenses that they used had glitter on the insides of the contact lenses. And normally they sand that down so that it's always terrible. The actors can only wear it for like 15 minutes before their eyes are just like have no oxygen. But they had glitter in those things to make the vampire eyes glow. And they forgot to sand one down and she put it in her eye and it scratched the shit out of her corneas. So super gnarly on that. And then they had to continue filming. Like they were like, okay, we'll sand that down, put it back in your eye.
That's a great excuse though, like when you're leaving set and you get pulled over and they're just like, why are your eyes so bloodshot? It's
I'm a vampire.
home from set. Don't worry about it.
But she also had the worst mouthpiece ever. She has the biggest vampire teeth you've ever seen. We're not
No.
talking like little.
Evil Ed still
Evil
has
Ed
the worst
has the
mouthpiece.
worst.
He does.
He-
Can we talk about why does Evil Ed turn into a werewolf when he gets staked?
That is a good point.
Because that's life. It's a metaphor for life,
It's a metaphor for. Well,
I think.
so we see these great boobs, you know, in that one scene, and then we see his little scrawny naked ass, and that's like the only nudity I think we get to see.
I also think that's life. You start out being like, great boobs, and then all you get is naked
Scrawny
Evil Ed.
little ass.
Yeah,
Yep.
so. But, I don't know, I put a note on here that says when he's meeting or melting, that's what it is. Evil Ed, when he's like, oh, no, that's the other guy.
Billy Cole.
That's it. This is the final scene, right? When he's all like, all I could think about was, don't do drugs, kid. He's back to like, meth, not even once.
Or
Not even
food
once.
poisoning.
That's good. I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that says that, Alicia.
Thank you. Can we put it in the dare writing?
Well, they tricked Derry Dandridge by just keeping him distracted until the sun comes up.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna party all night, and then, guess what? And he has all these cuckoo clocks to like remind him to like, hey, you need to get back in your coffin.
That's how many alarms I set to like get up in the morning too. That was
It's
crazy.
like 42 cuckoo clocks on the wall. So they get him down to the basement, and then they break out the windows and shoot holes in it, and he gets all lit on fire and shit.
He was dodging around for a while.
He was dodging the light beams, but they got him like a basic bitch, and then they finally.
I just have a hard time when like a 200-300-year-old vampire just gets taken out by some punk kid.
Yeah,
like-
that drives me crazy in horror movies. But they
He's
pull
dodged death
the
for
sheet
years.
aside, and the light comes flooding in, and he goes flying backwards, and then lights on fire, and then becomes some sort of hybrid human bat creature
Yeah,
thing.
fruit.
Bones.
Yeah, just that's the ugly fruit bat that I was talking about. They wanted to use it for the other movie. So they probably didn't want to use that for the final scene. And they had to, right?
I don't know. I don't know the history on that one, but yeah. So that's how it ends. So Jerry bites the bullet and doesn't get to come back for the sequel. Poor Jerry. And then he did get invited back though. Chris Sarandon did they redid Fright Night in the 2000s with Colin Farrell and the kid Anton Yelton, who R.I.P. Anton Yelton.
Got crushed by his own Jeep.
Yep. And Imogen Poots was the girl in it, who is way hotter than Amanda Burse.
I'm way hotter than Amanda Burse. I'll put a dress on after this. That's usually what I do on Saturday nights anyway. So,
That could have gotten us more people.
do you know the original ending though had Peter Vincent on the show turning into a vampire? So it
Really?
was supposed to be like him and his girlfriend making out again, not really paying attention to the show, and then throwing in that little hook, that little twist of the TV show host turns into a vampire on screen and kills someone on screen. Yeah, he's like got a girl and he turns into a vampire, and you guys all know what a vampire looks like, and then he transforms.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I
'cause
thought
the
that was a
ending that
good
we get
original
is
ending.
that it pans over to the next door neighbor's house, and then you see two red eyes, and then you hear Evil Ed masturbating and laughing.
Yeah.
I did also hear that the ending was that whole melting thingy was supposed to be used, I think, for Ghostbusters?
There was a librarian ghost that they had designed for Ghostbusters.
They thought they deemed it
had a
too scary.
Yeah, it was too
That's
scary
what
for
it
their
was.
rating, and then they were able to use it in Fright Night.
Yeah, I have one more thing that I wanted to bring up was that doesn't Amy she gets reversed from being a vampire?
Because they got her before the
Yeah.
morning came.
So does that virginize her? Like, does her virginity go
No,
back
she got
into
fucked
her,
by a
or-
200-year-old vampire. There is no going back from that. Yeah.
Can you imagine her next date? Like,
Now
"Hey,
she's
where did
going
you
to
lose
back
your
to
virginity?"
Charlie.
Oh, that's a crazy story.
She's going back to Charlie, who's again that 15-year-old kid who has no idea. He's like, oh, done. Was that good? And now she's got to be like, yeah, it's great. It's whatever.
200-year-old vampire lasted 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's this thing called foreplay.
Guys, I could talk about this movie all night long, but I bet you all are getting pretty sleepy. I have children, and I am up way past my bedtime.
I don't have children, but I have strippers I want to go see, so.
Alicia's got to get to the strippers and blow. So, Vivian, did you have anything else to add?
I did. I know we kind of talked about Vincent Price and having that whole character inspired by him. But apparently, after he saw the film, he absolutely loved it. He absolutely loved the character and loved the role and everything, which was a huge shock to everybody. And I think that is so cool. And I also wanted to add that the film grossed quite a bit more than they thought that it would, which is also pretty cool. And it has lasted, ever.
And then in true Hollywood fashion, they threw out a sequel, and it bombed. So they threw out a third one, and it bombed.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, that's the thing. And we made fun of it a lot tonight, but it is a classic 80s horror movie, and it deserves the respect for what it was at the time and what it is now. We're talking about it 30 years later, so there's something there, that...
Chris Sarandon's hair.
It could be Chris Sarandon. It could be
Chris
that
Sarandon's
he
hair
looks
pulls
at you
that
through
movie.
the screen and makes you... I've watched this movie 3 times in the last week, so I want to kill myself.
I don't know.
He does look, he pierces your soul.
But he
while
does
he's looking
pierce your
at you.
soul through the screen.
He made me want to go to a club and, I don't know, dance with him a little
Yeah,
bit.
like I
strippers
I
you're
wanted to
talking
grab his butt through the television.
Ah, shit. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
But we are going to have to wrap this up, sadly. I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you guys being here. Supporting podcasts is like a huge deal. It's a medium that's still free and it's still uncensored.
And you don't need LimeWire to download
I don't
it.
think it's always going to be like that. So,
And,
I appreciate you guys coming out and supporting it here. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all the places where you get your podcasts, YouTube. We're going to be posting on we have a website and a YouTube page. So if you go to our website, you can buy, because who wouldn't want a Talking Poop t-shirt? I mean, come on.
It's a conversation starter, I'll
It
tell
is a
you that.
conversation
People
starter
will
for
ask
sure.
you, what does that mean?
Is that or
what's
it's one of
that all
those, like,
about?
what the fuck? You're a grown man.
People come to me all the time and ask me for assistance with their bowels and things like that, and I'm like, nope, it's a movie podcast. Sorry, bro. Like, sorry. But yeah, you can check us out on there. All of our old episodes are available. We're a fairly new podcast. We've only been around for about a year. But we have about 40 episodes in, and I've had all of these people. We kind of rotate co-hosts. I'm like the mainstay, and then all these guys come along when they can, so that I can, not have to bother them every single week.
But he still does.
But I still try, and then.
He's saying that he has to pay for his friends.
Yeah. These guys come and work for
Wait, you
free.
got paid?
They work for Old Spaghetti, so that's a huge deal. But yeah, you can check out all of our old episodes, and then we're always posting videos and stuff. We've got Alicia's "Still Don't Leave Me" music video on our website.
It's genius.
We've got Alicia meeting. We've got a video of Alicia meeting Conan O'Brien and telling him that
Yeah.
she's her biological child, and he actually responded in his monologue to her, which is really funny.
It's pretty cool. He's daddy.
And then, so definitely, check us out. Tell your friends. We're on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media stuff. You guys know all about that. But yeah, just clicking on that stuff and giving us 5 stars helps and makes all the difference in our life as far as like supporting us, So we really appreciate that. And like I said, I appreciate you guys being here and staying up so late, checking us out, not going to the strip show or the superhero Tinder next door. So super
Coming here to
appreciate
talk
that.
about pussy.
and delete your browsing history.
For sure, yeah.
Just a reminder.
After the monster fucking,
Risk
definitely
it for the
delete
biscuit.
the browser history. So that's all, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Ew.
pussy. Pussy.
You did leave out one important
We didn't
Dude,
say
why don't
Roddy
we
McDowell
start
the whole
with
time, did we?
Hollywood leaving
Why
stress
didn't you just
because
scream it
the
at us?
sequels are more important than fan requests. Hold on to your chair, cause talking poop takes you there. You might have to change into some
Well, I am gonna
newer way.
I'll do an opening to this where I correct that mistake for sure. Yes, it was recorded the whole time, so if you guys want to listen to it, you guys can go and download it in like a week or so.